Is Veterans Day, and several events were held all across East Texas today to say thanks to those who served our country. One of those events was the 9th annual Fred Lobster's Military Appreciation Celebration at the McCormick Road Racetrack grounds in Smith County. East Texas News Weekend's Bob Hallmark has more.
Aging faces as well as young show the diversity of our veteran population now. Among all the activities at Fred Lobster, primary was to recognize all who served.
Hopefully they can come here and share with their brotherhood experiences or just camaraderie.
As their branch anthems were played, they assembled in front of the stage to be honored for their service, including 3-time Bronze Star recipient Tally Register.
It made me feel a lot better. I tell you, it's real good, and if I was a young man and had to do it over, I would do it again.
This year, yellow was worn by flag bearers to signify welcome home honors to Vietnam veterans.
It's specifically for Vietnam veterans to be remembered and honored.
Some recall an eerie memory of Friday night football in the late 60s.
I went to countless football games across the state of Texas, and before the game, they would mention the names of the local people of that area, of the local Vietnam dead. I still remember those days.
Gold Star mother Hope Billings was honored as a plaque to her son, Sergeant Robert Billings, who was killed in action in 2012, was unveiled in his memory.
It's beautiful. I love it. That makes me very happy. As long as no soldier is ever forgotten. That's what's important.
For all who have served, thank you. Bob Hallmark, East Texas News Weekend.
Proceeds from the event support Longview's VVA Chapter 987 scholarship funds and much-needed programs through the Veterans Support Commission.